Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakakadash, Yahweh being the true name for the Heavenly Father, Yahushai being named for his own begotten Son, who the world eagerly calls God, and Jesus Christ. I give double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone, and touch truth and will, and salutations to you, hopefully that person is truth and honesty and sincerity. This is Brother Yabasap, another lesson of spirit power, Yahweh Yahushai, and this lesson is just going on a spiritual review on the movie The Pope's Exorcist, which can be watched right now on Netflix. It's a great movie. It was very, I personally say it was horrifying for me, but for those that are not used to seeing Exorcist type movies, it might be terrifying for you. But it was edifying because it gave a lot of key historical points in the movie that make sense and shows why the Vatican is plagued with so many exorcisms and over there in Italy. Okay. Hey, you got to see some parts of this movie now. If you haven't seen it, this is a spoiler alert. I'm going to be mentioning things that happen in the movie that can ruin it for you. So, if you're concerned about that and you want to go watch the movie first and then come check out this lesson, then you can. But if you don't mind, hey, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you about it, man. In the movie, basically, it shows the story of this guy. It's based on a true story of Father Gabriel Amorth. Okay, I guess he was their chief person in charge of performing exorcisms over there in Rome in the Vatican. Okay, so in that cathedrals are over there. There's many churches. Okay, and the Roman Catholicism, man, is very, very embedded in a lot of witchcraft. And that Catholicism religion was basically founded off of merging pagan philosophies with the quote unquote Christian faith of the Bible to incorporate pagans along with the Christians to go to church for money. Okay, so that right there is a lot of idolatry mixed in, with the faith. All right, which those sins can be punishable by death, man. Worshiping, bound down to Mary and all these different statues, the Trinity doctrine, all this off the wall stuff, man. It doesn't make any sense, but they've done this and they convinced people that's what it is. And they've also whitewashed all the images and characters or prominent figures of the Bible and turned them white when they were actually people of color. So-called Black, Latino, Native American people is what they look like. So there's a lot of dirt that's on this church, man. And the key thing to point out is where they encounter one of the chief demons that possess this little boy, and the possession took place inside of an old church. Okay, and the church was built and operated during the Spanish Acquisition, which, if you don't know your history, that was a time period of heavy slavery, just as big as the transatlantic slave trade. It spearheaded the transatlantic slave trade. Before the transatlantic slave trade, you had the Spanish Acquisition that was going on that began to go right into the time period of the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, and it was hundreds of millions of indigenous people from North and South America were raped, robbed, and pillaged and enslaved and taken to Europe. Okay, and they went over here. They were enslaved and taken to Europe. Okay, and a lot of them were taken there and mutilated and beheaded and things like that, and burned at the cross for not accepting the Roman Catholicism, the fake pagan religion that many of those same people are brainwashed and worship today. Look, that's not the truth of the Bible. Okay, that religion, the Lord is not dealing with Catholicism. Okay, and the scriptures talk about casting out Beelzebub with Beelzebub, and that's certainly what these cats have been doing, casting out a demon in the name of a bigger demon. And if the demon is appeased enough, they seem to flee, okay, or just basically take possession of another vessel. All right, so basically in this movie, man, he came to this church and he discovered that inside of the well, as he's looking for information how to combat this demon, he's trying to find the name of it. He's trying to find the name of the demon, so he can call its name out to try to perform the exorcism and get it out of the little boy. So he stumbles across this sealed up well. This sealed up well that he falls down into, and at the bottom of it there is it's full of skulls, and the skulls are of the indigenous people that were enslaved and killed and slaughtered during the Spanish acquisition, and they were carried all the way to Italy, okay, and they were put in this church. So the demon that was plaguing the little boy, his goal was to possess one of the Pope's high priests, which is that guy Gabriel Amorth, and he actually was successful. The dude ended up getting possessed by this demon, man. But what really caught my attention was, wow, the reason why all these, because this is a hot spot in the world for exorcisms. The Vatican has the most documented exorcisms than anywhere in the world. So the Lord is basically punishing these Edomites over there for what they did to the apple of the Most High's eye, man. What they did to the Hebrew Israelites, the northern kingdom. And for all the witchcraft that goes on over there. The blasphemy that happens in that temple. So there's a lot of blood that's on this Catholic church's hands. And I got some articles that go into it. Okay. I got some articles that go into it. So I went on Cure right here. This guy shared this article. This is a message that was sent out during the Spanish acquisition. It says, "We grant you, kings of Spain and Portugal, by these present documents with their apostolic authority, full and free permission to invade, search out, capture, and subjugate the Saracens and pagans and any other believers and enemies of Christ, wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms, duchies, counties, principalities, and other property, and to reduce their persons to perpetual servitude." Okay? It was a papal bull issued 18 June 1452 by Pope Nicholas V. By one estimate, the Spanish conquistadors killed 1.4 to 2.3 million natives by forced labor, repression, and warfare, not including the 44.1 to 45 million people who perished from epidemics. Okay, so under the name of Christ, they were given a veil of authority, or secret veil of authority, to justify going and taking over the Israelites and enslaving them. It was spearheaded by the discoveries of Christopher Columbus, who kicked that off, who picked up the Apocrypha and read the account of the Apocrypha of where the natives were residing at. He read this passage here. This is second address 1511. "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm." Oh, Salakia, that's not it right there. Salakia. This is second address 1341. "But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. Now the Euphrates, if you look that up, okay, so this is where the Euphrates is. Okay, it starts all the way here. All right, it's gonna go all the way down. Okay, and it enters into the Persian Gulf. And then from there, they're going to get into the Arabian Sea. Okay? And then the scripture is going to tell you the next part of the voyage. It says, "For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over." So it flooded in that region to allow the river to get enough water for ships to enter and sail. All right. And it says, "For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asareth." Now, I actually calculated the wind currents and the time it would take in the history. It takes exactly a year and a half to sail from the Euphrates into the Arabian Sea, down around the bottom of Africa, and up and catch that slave current, the transatlantic current, and hit the Americas. Okay, so this is the land Asareth. Okay, and they landed in the in Puerto Rico. All right, so from there, they discovered how docile and kind the indigenous people were, and the amount of gold that they had, and they came back and they slaughtered. All right, that's what Christopher Columbus did, man. He gave that report, you know. And to his higher ups, and they sent death. Okay, so this is what they did. It says, "Then dwelt they there until a latter time, and now when they shall begin to come." Okay, so they lived there for a long time, man. For a long time. Okay, reading up further, in the verse 40, it says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the water, so they came into another land." Okay, so those are 10 tribes that came over here to the Americas. So those tribes that were here during the Spanish acquisition, okay, which under the guidance of the Catholic Church, the justification of, slaughtered indigenous people and took their remains and put it over in the church where the movie is based out of, where the big exorcism took place, and their skulls were there. So Esau brought those demons upon himself. And so the Lord is going to be sending this plague on a massive scale to the people of America. There's a lot of blood on this country's hands, man. And a lot of witchcraft that has reached unto heaven. The sins have reached unto heaven, man. But it was prophecy that they did this. This Spanish acquisition took place. This is Deuteronomy 28:49. "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand." So the natives could not speak their language. Okay, and they came and they enslaved them. And they put them on ships. That's also prophesied within the scriptures, man. But for the judgment for Esau for doing this is going to be big. Here's some more numbers, man. Look at this. Translate it to English here. Death totals: 46,400,000 indigenous people of them is how many were slaughtered. And it's actually more than that. There's more that aren't even documented. And you got to double that number, man. That's how many people they killed. Those are the death totals. And that church that they found, where the little boy got possessed at, in the movie they showed the date. They exposed the dates that the bodies that were there were from the Spanish acquisition. From what they did in South America, man. So for this, the Lord is going to send this plague. 2nd Esdras 15:11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So one of the plagues that was before is the plague of darkness. And we're going to read in detail what that plague of darkness includes. Okay? It wasn't just lights out. The Lord sent spirits and demons and possessions to jack people up. And that's exactly what he's been doing to the Roman Catholic Church, the Catholicism. Okay? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17, verse 1. For great are thy judgments, and cannot be expressed. Therefore unnatural souls have erred. For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, okay, the holy nation is the Israelites. The unrighteous men are Esau, Edom, the one that created that religion. It says, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with bonds of a long night, lay their exile from eternal providence. So they're going to be judged for the long night, this plague of darkness, man. And the things they did to those indigenous people wasn't just killing, man. They tortured them, man. Burned them alive on the cross. The Tea of Tammuz, man. It says, for while they suppose a lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered on a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. That's paranormal activities, man. Spirits and demons. Verse 4, for neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances. No power of fire might give them light, neither could bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. So they were getting day visions and dreams and being plagued with things that they couldn't explain, that they could see, nobody else could see, being tortured, man. It says, only appeared unto them a fire kindled itself, very dreadful. So imagine being in a pitch black room and all of a sudden a ball of fire pop up out of nowhere, man. It says, very dreadful, for being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight that they saw not. As for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. So all their explanations of this paranormal stuff was going on, all their magicians, their wizards, they couldn't do nothing with this, man. They couldn't explain it. Okay? This was, for they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, where they be laughed at. Right, so all their experts and stuff like that, they had people set up, witchcraft people, that try to combat with, the plagues of the Lord to explain it. They were getting jacked up by this. It says, for though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that pass by and hissing of serpents. Okay, so you got like lizards and creatures, man, and snakes. It says they died for fear, verse 10. They died for fear, denying that they saw the air which could of no side be avoided. For wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience always forecasteth grievous things. For the fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succours which reason offereth, and the expectation from within being less, counteth the ignorance more than the countenance which bringeth forth the torment. Verse 14, but they sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable, which came upon them out of the bottoms of inevitable hell. Okay, so these demons were possessed of these people, man. Jacking them up. It says, were partially vexed with monstrous apparitions, partially fainted, their heart failing them for sudden fear, and not looking for it came upon them. So these people were getting so terrified and tortured, they were having heart attacks. This is a plague of Egypt, man. And we just read this precept that it's coming back. It's going to hit the place spiritually called Sodom in Egypt, which is America, man. And the Lord sent this plague over there to the Catholic Church. They're getting jacked up with this plague already, man. You know how much child sacrifice and witchcraft goes on there like clockwork? So the Lord, every once in a while, sends exorcisms and demons to fuck with these priests and these people for what they've done. Okay? It says, so then whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in a prison without bars, without iron bars. Okay, so trapped in a jail of torturous, horrific stuff going on, man. It says, for whether he were husbandman or shepherd or laborer in a field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity which could not be avoided. For they were all bound with one chain of darkness, whether it be a whistling wind or a melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or pleasing fall of water running violently, or a terrible sound of stones cast down, or running that cannot be seen, a skipping beast, a little footsteps running across the floor, man, in the darkness. Terrifying, man. It says, or roaring voice of most savage wild beasts, or rebounding echo from hollow mountains. It sure had in the movies, man. The echo going through the room. These things made them swoon for fear. Verse 20, for the whole world shined with a clear light, and none were hindered in their labor. Over them only was a spread of heavy night, an image of that darkness which should afterward receive them, but yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness. So, hey, that's the plague of darkness. That's the detailed version of what was going on. So that's what's going to be hitting. And in this movie, you come to a realization, oh, light bulb on. This is why the Lord is sending these plagues. For all the witchcraft, the blasphemy, and what they done to the Hebrew Israelites. So one of the chief demons, the worst exorcism ever by the Pope's exorcist got possessed, was in a church that was full, the basement full of indigenous skulls, bloodshed. So call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. It makes sense why the Lord is jacking these Catholic priests up, man. There's much more to come. You're going to see earthquakes. It's going to destroy these temples. Missiles going to destroy these temples. The Lord's got it out for this paganism. So with that, Lord's will is edifying. Go check out the movie. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKakadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders, great millstone, to Asher's truth and will well. And salutations to you, hopefully, pushing this truth and honest sincerity. Shalom.